few weeks ago, I uploaded my first video on this 3D journey, and every single day I've been in the rabbit hole of topology, modeling workflows, and the pit of discouragement when the things I believed I already knew, especially after a year of doing Blender already, failed in practice. Just decided to make a Star Wars lightsaber. Thought it was going to be fairly, I don't want to say easy, but like a general shape, fairly straightforward, shouldn't be too many complications, and I keep running into this same issue where I come across something, I've done it a million times before, but for some reason I can't for the life of me think of how to solve it. It's easy to give up when you think that you should know it, but learning is not a straight line. It's not linear. Learning is you're good one day and then you're bad the next. So I'm really trying to keep that in mind. Basically, the age-old saying continues, the more I learn, the more I see how much I don't know. I'm not really sure where I'm getting stuck because I understand the way I've modeled things and I feel like I've thought ahead, but have I not done enough? Have I gone wrong at the beginning and I just didn't know it, and now I've reached a point where the model is starting to get a bit more complicated because I didn't prepare for this at the beginning? I'm just hitting stuff like that and I have questions. So for the last half an hour or something, I've been watching this guy called Mario Elementza. He seems really, really good at explaining some of the workflows and the processes and I guess like the approach you're supposed to take to 3D. So I think what I'm going to do is spend the rest of the night just watching his videos. Some of them are quite long, but I'm interested. There's obviously some very specific things that are causing the rest of my knowledge to fall apart. So, back in we go.
Breaking the forms down to its simplest forms, and then we are building up. Because the true skill is then defined by your ability to need to establish that strong foundation on which we are going to build. Populating topology, creating topology that can hold each approaches based on the situations that you are in. Because if you let observing the bells, observing the form, how it's holding, building these kind of small victories or accumulating kind of small victories matters.
It's been a few days since I started watching those YouTube videos, and I went crazy on learning the topology, but more so just the reasons for the approach and how to start and why to start in certain ways. And I think one of the main takeaways was I originally believed that there was only one way of making something, or, you might see someone make something and they're almost like making you believe that this is the only way to make it. You actually have a lot more control. And this means that if you want to have a little bit more of a round corner, you might work at a different subdivision level, or you might start off a different way. To show you what I'm talking about, I've set up this Blender project with 4 cylinders at different segments. So you've got a 20 segment cylinder with 1 level of subdivision applied. So basically this is a 40 segment cylinder. Then you've also got a 32 segment cylinder, and you've got a 32 segment cylinder with 1 level of subdivision, which now makes it a 64 segment cylinder. And so it's interesting to see how this rectangle is affected based on the different levels of segments. So let's start off with the 20 segment cylinder. You can see right here I've got just a basic inset with an extrude, and if you add a subdivision to it, you can see how if you want these types of corners, then all you have to do is have, the base topology technically. However, if you want tighter corners, then you should redirect, which is by, doing this stuff here. So then the context becomes, well, do you want rounded corners or do you want sharp corners? If you just angle this a little bit, you can see that there is very, 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 very slight pinching. It's that thing where it's like, okay, if I want sharp corners, I may have to get slight pinching if I want to work at 20 segments. But if I have a 20 segment cylinder, but then I add 1 level of subdivision, so now it's 40 segments, you get these sharp corners, which is what we had on this bottom part of the first cylinder, but we now get it without having to do a redirection. Essentially, you're now having to decide that if you are working on a curved surface and you don't want pinching, you can't redirect. You have to add subdivision. Do I want pinching? Do I not want pinching? Because if this is a background object, back from here, you're not going to see that pinching. So you can get away with doing 20 segments realistically. And it's kind of the same thing on the 32 segment as well. Like, how are these rounded corners? Like, okay, on a 32 segment, the non-redirected corners are actually sharper than the 20 segment non-redirected corners. This is what I'm talking about, where it's so interesting to see how context really matters, and it makes me laugh when I think about how you see a lot of stuff online about how people's topology could be wrong, or there's comments of people saying, oh, you should have done it this way. Topology is literally based on the context of the object, whether it's a background object, whether you want sharp corners or rounded corners, whether it's on a curved surface or a flat surface. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to go onto Elementza's website, and I'm going to buy both of his Maya hard surface 3D and design courses, which in my opinion isn't that expensive for what I'm aiming to learn. Like, I think it's really important to be willing to invest into learning skills and streamlining the process of learning if you have the ability to do so. And for me at the moment, I think, what's this converted to pounds, like maybe £120? I know that there's like a discount code somewhere as well. So yeah, about £120 for 2 3D courses with this level of information and education, I think is really, really crucial for me at the moment. So I'm willing to invest into this, and then we'll just go from there. So let's go. The reason I'm really excited about this is because it feels like I'm learning the stuff that actually matters, the stuff that can make you an expert. A good indicator of expertise isn't the skills, it's not the workflows and processes, but it's understanding the rules and knowing which ones can be broken. And I'm seeking out that expertise, and it feels like I'm getting closer and closer. I want to know those rules, and then I want to crush them. So today's goal is going to be to model a motorbike helmet. It's been a few weeks since I've been learning Elementza's course, and I believe I've got a good handle on the learnings of topology and why we approach things in certain ways. I think the biggest help actually was realizing that you need to simplify things down to their simplest form, only modeling half the object. And then if you want to take it even lower, then you would only model the detail on a flat surface and then curve it from there, or see how that detail changes as you apply that to a curved surface, stuff like that. So I'm going to model a motorbike helmet. Let's see how it goes. And, anything I get stuck on, it's going to reveal and expose things along the way. So let's give it a go. I'm in Blender. I've got my references set up. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with a cube. And I'm going to subdivide that cube to get a sphere with quads. Only apply one level of subdivision. Shift Option S, and then you go to 1. You can see it changes to a sphere. So, lovely. And then delete the bottom. And now I can go ahead and start modeling this. I'm getting a little bit stuck now because I am wondering if this is where we need to subdivide, because you can see that we don't have any topology for the visor. Obviously, when you subdivide, you're gonna get the extra line going through here. So obviously, like a line going through here, you'll get a line going through here. Let's subdivide again. You can see that, so this line is going to be fine, because when you subdivide, it's going to obviously add a line in the middle. So that'll be fine to here, and then obviously we'll have another one that can go up and go up and go up, which is great. So that's looking good. But this top one, we are going to have to prep the topology for that. Like even here, like these two lines are looking good. If I take this one over here and create a line, we have our stuff in place now. Hopefully it's looking like it is. Let's subdivide. And then you can see as well that once we've done that, we've added extra loops here. Basically, you want to remove any loops that aren't contributing. When you subdivide, there does being sometimes a lot of loops that just aren't doing anything. So I think it should be something like this. You can either push it in like this, or you can move it along the normal. Now you have this. Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there. It's been 3 hours, I'm roasting, I need food. I think I also need to symmetrize this actually. Around here you'll be able to see it change. Boom. There you go. Actually it's just the kite that changed. Not really too important. And then, yeah, but super happy with that. The visor as well, which is cool. Take it out with and it's the next day. So let's carry on. It's also quite late. I don't know why I'm starting this at 9 PM, but let's go. Okay, so I just skipped ahead a little bit and I've just done a little bit more of the details. Like I've added, let me just change it to this move. So I've added this top stuff, which is really cool, and I've also added more of these pieces here and just added this extra one here. And of course you saw this, and also we've got the back panel. Damn, I actually did a lot, but basically there was nothing different other than what you was already seeing in the time lapse and stuff. It was just a lot more of, you know, isolating an area, insetting, extruding, and stuff like that. And I also made this button, create a bevel, and then just raise it on the normal. Just only a little bit, it only needs a bit. Maybe this should go to here, let's just... I mean, it's only subtle. It just gives like a little bit of a... You know what, I don't know if I actually like that. Now, do you know what? Yeah, it does do something. So let's be helpful if I symmetrized on the right axis. There we go. It's been really interesting to see how you can add details to something, and when it's all said and done, it looks quite complicated. But in actuality, making those things was fairly straightforward, and it's also opened my eyes up a little bit to, you don't have to make the big car or the motorbike or anything like that. You can really make like these side things that go with that. So instead of making a car, why not make a steering wheel? Or instead of making a motorbike, make a motorbike helmet. Like, these things are just so fun to... I don't know, like, there's something about 3D where you want to make the cool stuff, but you actually find the same amount of fulfillment and interest even when making the small mundane things like a brake caliper or like a helmet or something, you know what I mean? Okay, for the sake of this video, I'm going to leave this helmet where it is. I'm really happy with the way things have gone. I'm really happy with the details, and I'm glad that I was able to get this far without following anything of the course from Elementza. Next in Elementza's course, I'm going to be modeling a motorbike, so really excited for that, and of course I'll document it and make sure that goes up in the next video. But yeah, I'm really happy with this helmet. I'm glad where I was able to get it to. It makes me feel like I've internalized the teachings, at least so far. It feels good. It feels good, so yeah, I'm excited to learn more. But for this video, I also wanted to show kind of what the reality is looking like in terms of my day-to-days, and honestly, it is fairly boring. Like, I'm at my desk all day, every day, and even when I'm not in Blender, I'm still watching YouTube videos. Some of them are 2 hours long, and I'm trying to learn these things not just from dedicated learning, but from absorption. Like, when I'm watching YouTube videos for entertainment whilst I'm eating my food, I think that is probably like a secret weapon. Like, I know when you may come across a problem and somewhere in your consciousness you can remember that you've seen this issue before and you remember how that person solved it. It's kind of like that joke where, you know, you might want to solve this thing, you'll go on Reddit and there'll be like a Reddit thread from like 20 years ago that has solved it already, and you're like, wow, I'm so behind. But I also wanted to highlight why I'm doing it this way is because I feel like I have such respect for the craft, and my goals and my ambition for this is really, like, I'm serious. Like, I want to be really good at this, and I recognize what I'm asking for is hard and it does require dedication, and I want to be better. So to end this video, I want to ask a question. If you're aiming for something right now, genuinely, are your actions matching your ambition? Okay. Thank you so much for watching. There was such a really good response to say that it was my first video on this journey last time, and I know the 3D community is incredible. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to upload again and share more.